Hello,
Hello,
I'm Esther,
and I'm June.
and welcome back to the reboot of On the Floor.
On the floor, finally.
Feels so awkward to say that again after 3 years.
I've never understood people who said this, but I'm kind of getting it. It's like, even if you cheat on me, I think I'll forgive you.
You should respect your partner, but it's like, okay, when does it get to a point where you don't? I've told you, hey, when I'm feeling upset, I kind of respond better when you're like this.
So step one, fill this up. Fill this finger up.
So if you have no idea what On the Floor is, it was basically a podcast that I started back in 2020 when we were in lockdown and everyone was stuck at home. And I'm sure a lot of you also felt this way, but I was feeling very lost and alone during that time, especially in a new city. And so the only thing that really kept me going was the conversations that I would be having with the people in my life. And I wanted to capture it and record it and share it with the world, hoping, I don't know, it could reach someone, I guess, because I know that when I felt heard and understood, I felt a little less alone. I think that's just kind of the mentality that I had going into it. And that turned into this YouTube channel, and now here we are bringing it back.
So this time around, what kind of vibe do you want it to be? Do you want it to be similar as your first time, or?
I think we both agree that we want to channel the same cozy, safe, inviting space so we can still have these conversations. Just because the world has reopened doesn't mean that people aren't feeling these things. I think they're still pretty heavily on our minds. And so I think it'll be interesting to go into this now as a couple, just together, because before I did it by myself.
I think what you said before is true too. During the pandemic, we were in our heads a lot and just by ourselves, and it was time to explore who we were. But then now that we're all out and about, doesn't mean that we can't still do that, right?
Yeah, I think there's just so much more noise now, but I realize I still have a lot of the same thoughts and feelings that I had when we were in lockdown, but I just tend to tune it out a lot more because I have a lot more distractions and
just keeping yourself busy.
Yeah, just like things going on. So if anything, it almost feels like more important to do this now to kind of help process.
Like a pause button to reflect while we go through this life, right? Instead of just going and going.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good way of putting it.
And we just want you guys to join us along our thought process. Come along.
I mean, it's not always just going to be us two. We're going to try our best to have a guest each episode. I think that is our main priority, to have different perspectives and different stories brought into these conversations.
So for the first episode, we don't have a guest, but we just kind of wanted to do a Q&A so that you get to know us a little bit better.
So I asked on Instagram for you guys to submit some questions, and then next month's episode we will
have an exciting guest.
Maybe
special
two.
Feature. Maybe two.
All right, first question: how did you both get into your field of work? Yeah, so I used to work at a startup called FabFitFun, and then I moved over to Refinery 29 and then Vice, and now I do this full-time.
Full-time content creator.
For now. Yeah, imposter syndrome is very real.
How did you get into editorial?
I was an English major.
At UCLA. She got the brains.
Oh my gosh. What was I saying? Oh yeah, but I majored in English, and it was kind of either write or go to law school
or be a teacher.
Oh yeah,
you were education minor.
Yeah, I was an education studies minor, but then that minor taught me that I didn't want to be a teacher.
See, I wish I knew that, because I was a biology major and had nothing to do with education.
If there are any education study minors, especially at UCLA, basically what you learn is just how effed up the system is. Yeah. And I was just like, wow, I don't know if I have that in me. We're kind of in the same boat where we chose passion over money, because I knew I wasn't going to be making a lot of money, but I knew that I loved writing, and I also loved the fashion and beauty world. So that was kind of the direction I went into.
Yeah. So I'm a high school teacher. I teach science or biology and environmental science in the Bronx. In college, I was planning to be going to PT school. That's why I was a biology major. So I was making up extra credits in the summer, and my friend from my church was asking me if I wanted to work at this summer camp. I was like, sure, why not? So I worked at the summer camp, and you know, it was great. I got along with the kids. I had a lot of fun. And then the director asked me like, hey, you're really good working with the youth. He's like, you should consider, you know, doing this in the future. And then my friend, she asked me, he's like, hey, if you want to like go into this field, you can just apply to this program. So like I did. When you're junior, senior in college and you still don't know what you want to do, I applied to like, all these like education programs, and then I got in. So kind of just rode that wave. They threw me in the classroom. All I knew was bio, and just learned teaching while going to getting my master's at night. And yeah, it was hard.
Yeah, I mean, it still is hard.
Yeah, I had no idea that's like what teaching would be like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in New York City.
Yeah, especially in New York City. I thought I would build relationships with students and just like, you know, freedom riders, like make an impact. But like you said, it is
politics.
It is all politics. It's like heavily decided by the system of how much I can make an impact in the classroom.
Yeah. As sad as it is. That's
yeah,
just
as sad as it is. Yeah, I just feel like at the end of the day, even education is just like a huge corporate machine trying to make money. So I feel like I'm just a cog in the
system.
Yeah, in the whole system, just doing my part, listening to my higher ups.
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel like there are times where I do make connections with my students, and I believe it'll lead to a change in their life. But overall, day to day, you don't really see it that much. It's good days and bad days.
Yeah, I think it's definitely that. Like sometimes you come home and you're just so drained. And then other days I see you and you're just like, you know what? I think I could do this.
Yeah, it's always just like those one instances that kind of make up your entire teaching career.
Yeah.
But it is, I did to chase my passion. I wanted to, you know, work in underprivileged communities. But now I'm realizing maybe I should have set myself up to do bigger things before trying to give back into the community.
Like change things on a bigger scale.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is I have limited influence in the classroom. Yes, I can change my students' lives just by being like a good role model to them. But like systematically, I can't do much because I have to do what the principal wants me to do. The principal has to do what the superintendent wants. And the superintendent has to listen to like policymakers.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just like a lot of things I can't do. Even if we do see the flaws in the system, like there's no way we can change it as teachers.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking maybe I should have gotten more skill sets when I was younger so that when I'm older, I could make a bigger impact. All I know how to do is be a teacher. My expertise is not in law. It's not in policy making. My expertise doesn't allow me to make bigger changes. All I know is how to be a teacher in a classroom, right? Now I'm thinking back on it. I kind of wish I like learned the corporate world, kind of learn how to make money, because, you know, I'm learning that people with the money up top are the ones making the bigger changes. For example, like in New York, charter schools are taking over, and it's just these huge companies with a lot of money kind of forcing the trend in education.
My story is not very interesting. I mean, if people want to know like why I quit my job, I have a whole video.
Can you summarize it real quick?
Even before I was making money off of YouTube, I heavily considered leaving my job and doing a whole career change. Whether that was like going to boot camp, going back to school, starting a business, like whatever it was, I was so burnt out working in media. And on top of that, you don't get paid anything, you know? Yeah. So like we were in the same boat. For at least if I was being compensated, I would have kind of pushed through. I could barely live in New York, you know? Yeah, I just didn't think it was worth it for me. So obviously when this opportunity kind of presents itself, I decided to take it. I just felt like it was more fulfilling at the time. Yeah, I did something that was very out of character for me because I'm such a risk averse person. I know what it looks like to people. Like I've gotten comments where people are like, oh, like I would rather have a job where I have a 401k and like I'm set for retirement and like I have stable income, you know, you're not even that big or whatever, you know? But it's like, obviously I've thought those things through. Like, you know me, that's how fed up I was. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go.
It's kind of sad that, you know, like you joined media because you were passionate about media.
Well, I wasn't passionate about media. I just liked writing.
You just liked writing.
Yeah.
But you were into the culture, right? What I'm saying is I think it's kind of sad that at the end of the day, money does have a big part of it. Because you said your salary was so low and like you could barely afford to live in New York. That's like same with teaching. It's hard when you want to be in your passion, but these like real life scenarios just keep eating away at you and just like
Yeah.
stress you out. All these things add up and it kind of takes away from your energy to do the work you want to do. Or you could just be a rock star and do both at the same time.
Oh
know?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's people out there that that do that, but
And then next question.
how are we different and how are we similar? Well, Esther, she touched upon this before, but she's very risk adverse. For me, I'm very risk tolerant, where like I don't mind if things happen. I'll just kind of deal with it as it goes. My family, especially my mom, is very, if it happens, it happens. You know, that kind of attitude.
It's like split for me. Like, you know me, I can be very like controlling of situations because I just don't want something to go wrong. And so I will make sure like every factor is like accounted for.
To go a certain way.
Yeah, to go a certain way.
Are you good at handling things that happen unexpectedly? So let's say you plan everything out, but things happen. Like, how is your reaction to it?
If I didn't plan for it and something happens, right? I'm like pretty flexible and like I can kind of roll with the punches, you know? Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I think this makes more sense. Like, I think in day-to-day living, you're a lot more carefree and spontaneous, adventurous, right? And I'm a lot more the opposite, basically. I'm not like that.
Yeah.
Not as much as you. But then I think when it comes to work and future, you're more careful and planned and like orderly.
Like meticulous about it?
Yeah, like you follow an order to it.
Well, yeah, I like that structure. I
Yeah.
like following a structure.
Yeah, but then for me, when it comes to work and future stuff, I'm almost like blindly optimistic where I'm like, everything will work itself out. I kind of trust that in the end, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, even if along the way it sucks, eventually it'll be fine. Or I'll learn to be fine with it. It's like kind of that.
For me, though, I'm really scared of kind of wasting my life. Like, I want to do big things. So the bigger picture things, I'm very... more careful about and more logical about it. But then the everyday, day-to-day things, I don't really care about. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah. And I think I'm the opposite where nothing is a waste for me because getting to my end goal, like all of those little things in between, they still matter to me because that journey getting there is just as important.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
Yeah. You don't really worry about the big picture because you're so good at accomplishing things every single day, like small things. You're just good at getting things done every day. Where me, if I don't have that big goal, then I will accomplish nothing.
Everything you do is for the big goal.
Yeah, everything. Or else I would just like kind of rot and like not grow at all. Like, you're not worried about the end goal because every day you do something to grow. You do these things where you kind of push yourself, not towards like a specific goal, but just to become like a better person.
Well, you know why I like think like that though, right?
Why?
It's because like we're both Christian. For me, a lot of that comes from my trust and faith that God knows better.
It's funny because my reasoning is kind of based on
But it's
Christian background.
opposite?
It's opposite. I think of the parable with the talents, how he gave like 3 different people different amounts of talents. One person buried it, like the other 2 people grew it. For me, it's I want to grow my talents, you know? Okay, so the next question is, but what do we argue about the most?
Again, our end goal of we both want to resolve it. We both are doing things because like we love each other, but the approach is different, and that's where we argue because we don't understand each other, and we need to get to a place where we understand each other, and then it's like resolve.
Yeah.
You know?
We're both working towards the same thing.
Yeah.
But we do it differently.
I think that's like the general theme around the majority of our arguments is we just don't go about things in the same way. And so we take offense to it, or like we get defensive, and then that's when we just don't listen to each other, and it can, you know, turn into a bigger thing than it is. Usually like the cause of it is nothing big.
Yeah, I think most of our arguments are not the differences, but how we act when we're upset.
Oh, yeah.
And we
that's
argue
true.
about that, like how you acted because you're upset.
Yeah.
That's what, like, the thing that starts our arguments are very menial things, like very small.
Yeah.
But then, like, the attitude you gave me when you're upset is what brings the fight even bigger.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, like, she's really bad at
Communicating that.
expressing why she's upset. And then when she finally does express it, I'm at a point where I don't want to hear it and I don't accept it, which upsets her even more. Because she's like, you don't want to listen to me. Like, you you don't try to understand me.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's like I did in the beginning, but because she showed me so much attitude, I kind of cut myself out.
One, I don't know why I'm upset yet, so I need to like figure that out. And during that time I'm trying to figure it out, I'm still upset. So I'm like,
Not in a
I'm
good
still
mood.
like, yeah. And then I finally figure out like what is making me upset. But then by that point, it's too late because now you're upset at me. And then I think once both of us calm down, that's when we can like actually talk. So it's not healthy. I think people think like I don't know, that we have it figured out, but we really don't. I mean, I go to therapy now, and this is like something that I'm talking about almost every week with my therapist, is like communication and, you know, being better at talking through my emotions. So
I think for me, it's I forego a lot of things that she does.
yeah.
I just say, I'm the one that like bottles things up. All these small things, I said, you know, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Like, I love her, it's fine. And then there was always that one thing that kind of tips me over, and then I get upset at her for it. Something like I shouldn't, but I do. Cause like leading up to that, all those small things that like kind of upsets me, but it doesn't seem big enough where I have to bring it up.
Yeah, but if we keep getting to a point where we end up blowing up,
Yeah.
then that's when it's not healthy, you know?
Things like we should tell each other, even if you think it's no big deal.
I shouldn't only be expressing my emotions once I get to that point. Like, I should know how to express my emotions at any given point. But I think because I didn't grow up with that, you know?
I kind of just grew up saying that your emotions don't matter, you know?
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
It's so different now, like how people want you to express yourselves, but I don't know, growing up for me, it's you shouldn't have emotions, you know?
Mm-hmm. You know, an interesting thing that my therapist told me, she said, you know, people who tend to be described as laid back or chill, they typically are people who grew up either verbally being told or just like subconsciously believing that how they feel doesn't matter, and that's why they've grown up to be laid back, chill, etc. She's like, it's not for everyone. Most cases it seems like, you know, this is the case.
That's the middle child syndrome.
Oh yeah, you're a middle child.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like my feelings don't matter, but when you kind of look at what's going on in the world, your feelings, I mean, that's what I was taught. I'm not saying this is right, but I'm saying when I look at things that are going on in my life, my feelings, at the end of the day, my feelings didn't really matter. I thought there were more important things that other people should deal with. So like, I'm not going to burden my family or my friends even more by expressing my own opinions. That's why you kind of just suppress it.
Yeah. And that carries on into adulthood.
Yeah.
That was like kind of like me too, is my parents had enough to worry about and enough to deal with. I'm just gonna quietly do what I'm supposed to do. That's why my mom never had to tell me to go study or like do this.
Or for me too, it was the language barrier between my parents. They only speak Korean.
Yeah.
And I'm like not the best at Korean. So even if I wanted to express these things, I couldn't. So I was just like forced to hold it in.
That's true too. I mean, I think that's where my passive aggressive tendencies came in though, is like we didn't have anyone to talk about those things with, but we had Tumblr.
Well,
like that was such a thing.
I never did MySpace or Tumblr or any of that.
Oh dude, I lived on Tumblr.
I think I kind of just drowned my feelings in activities. That's why I have so many hobbies. Because instead of thinking about it, you just think about something else.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
then it's like
it's not good.
Yeah, it's the worst way to deal with it because now you don't know how to deal with your emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we've learned a lot. I think now we know. Like I've told you, hey, when I'm feeling upset, I kind of respond better when you're like this.
I think in the beginning, the biggest thing was whenever we would argue or whenever you would do something, my immediate reaction would be like, oh, like, why is she like this? But now I don't really think that. It's more what needs to be done. Or like, she's being like this, or like, what is she trying to tell me?
Next question. How has your relationship changed over time?
I mean, we got better at resolving arguments. For
I
sure.
would hope so.
Yeah.
Just being more comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I'm comfortable in the sense where it's not necessarily too good to be just comfortable, because then we're gonna stop trying. And I am definitely comfortable in the sense where I'm completely myself around you, and you know like the worst parts of me too.
Yeah. I'm not, how do I say, like, I'm not trying to put on a front to impress her in everything I do. In the beginning, I was putting a lot of effort into trying to impress her, and I guess still trying to like win her over. But now it's more my efforts or my energy kind of grow with her instead.
I also think we just like know each other better.
Yeah.
Even like a year ago.
Even like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It like changes pretty fast.
hopefully we're like always growing. That's like one thing I'm always conscious of, is like I don't ever want our relationship to be stagnant. I think before it was still getting to know each other, so we weren't really focused on growth. It was just
Getting to know each other.
yeah, and just building a foundation. But now
Mhm.
I feel like we have that foundation, and it's just, all right, like what can we build on top of it, kind of. What should we look for in a lifelong partner? Any deal breakers? I think that depends for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, what did you look for?
Same values, like what we want in the future, how we want to live our life.
Yeah. I think for me, family was always important, whether they wanted a family, and also just like their relationship with their family. I could tell you guys were all close because of like you guys growing up through the same thing. Like you guys went through the same things together, and like because of that, you guys did seem close. Even if you guys don't talk every day, like that's not the closest I'm talking about, but like kind of like how me and my brother, we have a closeness just because we get it. Like we went through the same thing.
You guys are like so different, but at the same time.
Yeah, like I don't talk to him every day, but there are things that only my brother will understand and things that only I will understand just because of what we went through. Yeah. And I saw that in you guys too. So I was like, oh yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. So one of the biggest thing is being able to respect her, being able to like respect my partner. I would never want to kind of doubt them, especially my partner. Like I want to be able to like hold her to a high standard and be able to kind of like trust her words, her mindset, like what she says. So that was huge. And I do respect Esther. I think she has a lot going for her, and like she's done big things to prove that she's respectable. So that was huge. I want to be able to admire you, you know. Deal breakers if I can. I don't.
How would you not respect someone though? Are you the type of person who just like respects people? Like people just have your respect as you meet them, or people have to earn your respect? Is it like,
oh no, I'm always the first.
they just have your respect?
Yeah, they have my respect. I always give them the benefit of the doubt until they prove me wrong.
How would you not respect someone then if you always give them that respect? Like over time, you're saying they would lose your respect. So like one day, let's say I totally just mess up, or like I'm not the same person, I lose your respect when you're like, all right, I'm walking away.
Ooh, that's hard. Actually, how would you lose my respect? Yeah, how do people... I'm trying to think of someone that I don't respect. It's kind of hard.
Right?
Yeah. Because I respect people in like so many different aspects of their life. Ooh.
So you respect everyone.
Yeah, you're making me question this.
You should respect your partner, but it's like, okay, when does it get to a point where you don't?
I mean, if like you cheat on me.
I mean, okay, like aside from that, like the obvious.
Yeah, you know, I was actually talking to my roommate before. I was so against people who cheat. I mean, I'm still against it. Like, I'm saying for my partner. Like, if my partner ever cheated on me, it's done. No questions. Like, no second chance. But I don't know. Something about, like, the more I date you, even if you cheat on me, I've never understood people who said this, but I'm kind of getting it. It's like, even if you cheat on me, I think I'll forgive you. I mean, that's not giving you permission to cheat on me, but I think...
Wait, that's crazy. Honestly, if you cheated, I'm not forgiving you.
I think it will definitely be hard, but I think I would rather have you knowing that you cheated on me than not having you.
What? Isn't that just like blindly...
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
so I never understood it before too. I didn't understand people who said that, or like people who forgave. I would be like, you can't, but I don't know. I kind of understand it. I don't know if I would take you back if you cheated on me, but it would be really hard.
You don't think that would shatter your perception of who I am and my character, and also make you lose respect for me if I did that? Because I've betrayed your trust that we've built.
Yeah, but it's hard because I'm realizing I don't love you because of the things that you do, right? I love you because I love you, right? Because like for who you are. It's like, oh, I don't know. This is hard. I guess this is like a really, this could be a whole episode in itself. But I don't know. For some reason, I mean, I can't say it. Maybe if it actually happens, I'll be completely wrong. But the more I thought about it, the more and more I kind of could see myself forgiving you.
Wow.
Yeah. But why were we talking about that? Oh yeah, how would you lose respect?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you would lose my respect not if you hurt me, but if you hurt other people. Like if you screwed someone else over, like if you cheated on me, if you like hurt me some way, I wouldn't really lose respect for you. But if you screwed someone else over, if you hurt someone else other than me, then I would lose respect for you. But if you like kind of went behind my back, talk crap about me behind my back, I don't think I would ever lose respect for you for doing that.
I don't know. I don't like that.
Really? Yeah.
I've told you before.
Yeah.
I never ever badmouth you in any way.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, as you shouldn't.
even if I'm explaining to my friends like an argument that we've had, or like I was really annoyed at you by something, I never say anything about your character. It's just like ugh, I was so annoyed, but ugh, I kind of get him, you know. It's like that. I don't know, because I would hope you would never do that towards me.
All right, to be honest, maybe in the beginning of a relationship,
Hey.
you know, because I was saying before, I'm like, oh, like why is she like this? But then now it's not so much anymore.
Yeah, because it's, for me, it's like I should always be on your side, at least in front of other people.
Yeah.
And then behind closed doors, I can, like, you know, we can address it between each other. But like to other people, like, no, like people need to know, like, you'll always have me on your side. I'm always gonna have you on my side.
So is that a deal breaker?
What if someone like talks crap about me?
Yeah, if I go around complaining about our relationship to other people but not addressing it towards you.
Oh yeah. Well, that's just like, for me, that's like red flag.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten advice from my friends like, oh, what do I do in this situation?
Oh yeah, I know, but you told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. If you've told me, I don't care. See, I don't mind you going to your friends and asking for advice. It's not that, but it's like, if you never address it to me, then that's like a different thing. But if you're going to your friends for advice to come to me, that used to bother me, remember? Because I was like, I want you to talk about it with me first and then share with your friends later, because that was how I did process things. I kept things to myself, and I like being private and just keeping things between us, and then I told my friends about what happened after the fact. But again, we're just different, and like if you need friends to talk about it with, then it's like, okay,
it helps me like process it more
like,
if I just talk about it with different perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it just used to bother me because I just thought like this is something private. I think that part of me was also afraid and not confident in my relationships with your friends, that they were just gonna like
judge you.
They were gonna judge me or like feed into this negative narrative about me. But now I'm just like, you know, I think I trust that you have good friends around you, and they're not just gonna say things, you know, like they care about you, so they care about our relationship. So it's like
when I talk about these things with my friends, more times than not, they kind of give me your perspective. They like help me understand your perspective. They're not just like siding with me.
Yeah.
It's like they kind of help me see the bigger picture, and then I understand, and then I come back to you.
Yeah. That's why now I'm like, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, in the past it was definitely something I told you. I was like, don't talk about it with anyone else.
And I'll be like, okay, and then I'll
and then
tell
you
the
would
world.
do it anyway. Next question.
So does being in a relationship help with self-confidence?
I definitely feel more like secure in this part of my life. So maybe in that sense, it helps me be more confident in like other parts of my life. But I think for the most part, my self-confidence, it's not
better or worse.
Yeah,
it's just,
you know, like I have my days, I have my like seasons of where better and where it's worse.
I mean, there are still like times right now I lack self-confidence.
Yeah. Well, if we're just talking about it physically, like being in a relationship doesn't make me any more confident, I don't think. Like the physical part of it, I don't magically become more confident because I'm in a relationship. Like I still have my days where I'm like, ugh, I just feel so ugly, or like, ugh, like I look bad in everything today. Or like, you know, but then I guess in terms of just facing life, I have a lot more confidence. I don't know about self-confidence, like that kind of stuff, but I feel more confident approaching life and taking on life. Now that we're in a relationship.
Me too.
But like all the personal things, only I can build those things up. Like by you telling me like I'm doing a great job, or I look great, or whatever, like you telling me these things, it doesn't change it for me. Like inside, I'm still gonna believe what I want to believe. You know? Yeah, like I still constantly work on building self-confidence in my day-to-day. If I was single or in a relationship, like I would do the same thing. Yeah,
that's always something you tell me to fix.
What?
My negative thoughts.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you have a lot of negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
I guess it didn't really change when I was single or in a relationship. Yeah, it's like still the same struggles. Yeah, like the narrative you keep telling, like you have in your head, it didn't change just because you started dating. And you're still working on it, you know? Like I didn't come in and fix it. Yeah. I mean, that was like what the sermons were about for us these past couple weeks. Winning our thought wars. You know that like thing on Instagram for a while? It's like, which wolf are you going to feed? So a while back on like Instagram, there was this thing about this guy talking about how like you have two wolves inside you. one of it is like very positive thoughts and one of it's like negative thoughts, and the one you feed more is the one that gets bigger and stronger and will kind of take over. So if you feed yourself with more positive thoughts, then you will become a more positive person. But if you feed yourself with more negative thoughts, then you become a more negative person.
Yeah.
It's childhood trauma.
I know.
You know.
Ooh. Okay. Last question we're gonna do. This one was actually really commonly asked. It was what our 5 and 10-year plan is.
So step 1, fill this up. Fill this finger up. Step 2, maybe move out of New York. So we could fill up our homes with a bunch of babies.
Okay.
Right?
I mean, that's just being specific to our relationship. I think personal goals, career goals, those look a little different. But yeah, our 5-year plan, just like pertaining to us as a couple, it is
start a family.
Move, start a family, build a home.
Pass our genes.
Oh my gosh, we've been recording for too long.
Well, also I hope you guys learned a little bit something about us. Next time we won't talk about ourselves this much.
Yeah.
We just
Don't
wanted
worry.
you guys to kind of get to know your hosts for the future. Look forward to it because we have a lot of new exciting topics that we're going to talk about, and then people that are going to be on the podcast. So if there's any topics that you guys want to listen to in the future, don't hesitate to ask or to tell us. Thumbs up and subscribe.
Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to us talk, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Bye.